final decision. Very sad update for Little People Big World fans. There have been rumors of Zach and Tori getting divorced for a long time, and it's finally true. Zach and Tori Roloff have divorced, and Zach Roloff has married his private fiancée. Everything will be explained to you. Today, we will delve into the emotionally wrenching narrative of Zach and Tori Roloff, a tale of betrayal, love, and a secret that has shattered a family. This is the untold narrative of Little People Big World's most significant scandal to date. Rumors of a divorce, murmurs of a secret companion, and a mother who is struggling to maintain her composure. This narrative is so shocking that it has rendered its audience mute. We are about to disclose the startling truth regarding the alleged divorce between Zach and Tori Roloff, Zach's covert girlfriend, and the sorrow that has split the Roloff family. Remember to fasten your seatbelt, as this narrative is too unbelievable to be believed. This narrative is a fictional work that has been created for the purpose of entertainment, and it is based on the public lives of Zach and Tori Roloff. Before we commence, a brief announcement. Although we will incorporate genuine details from their time on Little People Big World to evoke an authentic experience, the events we are about to recount are speculative and unconfirmed. In order to comprehend the devastating sorrow that is about to be revealed, it is necessary to revisit the inception. One of the 4 children of Matt and Amy Roloff, Zach Roloff, was raised in the limelight on the television show Little People Big World. Following the Roloff family as they navigated life on their Oregon farm, the TLC program, which premiered in 2006, documented their experiences. Matt, Amy, and Zach all had dwarfism, which resulted in Zach being the timid, soccer-loving son who frequently remained in the background in contrast to his vivacious twin brother, Jeremy. He encountered Tori Patton, however, and his life was forever altered. In 2010, Tori, a young woman who is both confident and vivacious, began her employment at Roloff Farms during the pumpkin season. And sparks flew as she was harvesting squash and he was operating a tractor. In the 2024 episode of their podcast Raising Heights, Tori acknowledged that she was Zach's first engagement, first kiss, and first everything. The admirers were captivated by their innocent romance, and their rapport was undeniable. In 2015, they were united in matrimony on the family property, where they were married in a stunning ceremony that was attended by Matt and Amy, who were simultaneously undergoing their own divorce. Tori was in love with Zach, stated her closest confidant. She expressed to me that he was incredibly sincere and benevolent. She appreciated the way he helped her feel secure, despite the fact that the cameras were constantly present. We were all under the impression that they would be together indefinitely, as they were each other's first loves. It was their love tale that served as the foundation of Little People Big World. They were observed by their fans as they welcomed 3 gorgeous children: Jackson in 2017, Lila in 2019, and Josiah in 2022. After a disagreement with Zach's father, Matt, regarding Roloff Farms, they discussed their relocation to Battleground, Washington, and the challenges they faced while rearing their children, some of whom inherited Zach's dwarfism. However, these expressions concealed the emergence of fractures in their idyllic existence. By 2021, Zach and Tori were experiencing various changes. The most significant source of tension? Roloff Farms. Zach had grown up with the aspiration of inheriting the family farm, a vast property in Helvetia, Oregon, that was the foundation of the Roloff family's legacy. Matt's decision to list the farm for sale in 2022, rather than selling it to Zach, ignited a dispute that would have a profound impact on the situation. Zach felt betrayed, and Tori supported him by criticizing Matt's decision on social media. The agriculture predicament was a debilitating crisis. Zach felt as though his father prioritized financial gain over his family. Tori, too, was incensed. She believed that Matt and his companion Karen were demeaning Zach's aspirations. It was not solely about the estate, it was to do with trust. That was also the moment when their marriage began to undergo a transformation. In 2022, Tori acknowledged her feelings of being undervalued and overburdened in her marriage on Little People Big World. She disclosed to Zach that she was experiencing difficulty coping with the responsibilities of motherhood and believed that he was not recognizing her contributions. Fans began to observe the tension, which manifested in the form of prolonged silences, forced smiles, and instances in which Tori appeared distant. Had this been merely the result of the stress of parenting and familial conflict, or was there a more profound issue at play? By 2024, Zach and Tori announced their departure from Little People, Big World after 25 seasons. Tori stated in their podcast Raising Heights that chapter has concluded. Many fans were taken aback, but they also pondered whether their departure was related to something other than the show. In early 2025, tabloids and fan pages began to receive information from anonymous sources who were in direct contact with the Roloff family. The rumors contended that Zach and Tori had relocated to Battleground, Washington, where they were allegedly observed with a mysterious woman and their children. Fans of Zach on Instagram began to speculate, with some asserting that he was leading a double existence. However, what was the identity of this concealed girlfriend? And how did she enter the scene? I observed Zach and this woman at a nearby coffee establishment. She did not resemble Tori, and they appeared to be in close proximity. He seemed happier than I had observed him in years, and they were laughing. I do not know her name. However, she was tall, brunette, and appeared to possess a wealth of knowledge regarding Zach's existence. It was as if they were possessed of a history. Emma, the name of this mysterious woman, will be used for the time being, as her identity has yet to be verified. A local community group in Battleground introduced Zach to Emma, according to our fictional narrative. Zach connected with her on a level that had not been felt in years, and she was a photographer with a passion for outdoor excursions and a single mother. Fans who tracked Zach's Instagram account observed that he had been sharing more content about soccer and hiking, activities in which Tori rarely participated. Emma, was she the catalyst for his renewed fervor? As per our narrative, Zach and Emma's friendship originated innocently. Zach felt comfortable discussing the pressures of fame, fatherhood, and his troubled relationship with his father as they connected over shared interests. However, as their relationship intensified, the allegations also intensified. Fans on Instagram have reported that they have observed Zach and Emma at a park, a local pub, and even at a soccer game with his children. There was an incessant amount of speculation. Is it possible that Zach was cheating? Had his marriage to Tori come to an end? In our fictional narrative, the breaking point occurred in March 2025. After months of uneasiness, Zach and Tori engaged in an emotionally charged dialogue. After hearing the allegations about Emma, Tori confronted Zach. The friendship was not denied by him, however, he maintained that it was platonic. Tori, however, was not persuaded. Her feelings of betrayal were not limited to Zach, but also encompassed the existence they had established together. In April 2025, Tori filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences as per our narrative. Devastated was Tori. She sacrificed her time, her passion, and her ambitions for that marriage. Her heart was broken upon discovering that Zach was spending time with someone else, regardless of whether it was romantic. She experienced a sense of not being sufficient. She has endeavored to maintain her resolve for the sake of the children, but it has been exceedingly challenging. The divorce petition caused a sudden and profound impact on the Little People Big World fandom. Fans began using hashtags such as Zach and Tori split on Instagram. While some individuals advocated for Zach, asserting that he was entitled to happiness, others defended Tori, characterizing her as a devoted mother who had been victimized. Meanwhile, the Roloff family was also divided. The mother of Zach, Amy, stood by Tori, lauding her as the most exceptional grandmother ever for her children. Matthew, on the other hand, maintained his silence, which served to exacerbate his already strained relationship with Zach. In our narrative, Tori, Jackson, Lila, and Josiah relocated from their Battleground residence to a nearby apartment rental. Posting cryptic Instagram updates about new beginnings and discovering fortitude, she threw herself into motherhood. Tori denied rumors that she was expecting her fourth child in February 2025, stating that she and Zach were no longer interested in having children. In spite of this, her social media posts demonstrated a woman who was attempting to maintain her composure in the face of sorrow for the sake of her family. Zach was progressing with Emma, while Tori was consolidating the fragments. In our fictional story, their relationship flourished following the divorce. Zach proposed to Emma in a discreet ceremony at a nearby park in May 2025, in the presence of his closest friends, but not his family. When an admirer posted an indistinct photo of Zach and Emma exchanging vows on Instagram, the news was announced with the caption, "Is this really happening?" Zach was dissimilar to Emma. His body felt lighter, as though a burden had been lifted. One acquaintance expressed his understanding that others are displeased with him. However, he did not intend to cause harm to anyone. He was simply captivated by love. He also finds Emma to be excellent with his children, as she is both patient and enjoyable. In my opinion, he has at last discovered his soulmate. Zach's nuptials to Emma was a striking contrast to his extravagant 2015 ceremony with Tori. No TLC cameras were visible, and the space was tiny, private, and intimate. As per our narrative, Zach's children attended, and Emma's small daughter from a previous relationship formed a rapport with Jackson, Lila, and Josiah. However, there was a notable absence of the Roloff family. However, Amy declined to attend, as she remains committed to Tori. The congratulations were sent by Jeremy and Jacob, but they maintained their distance. Matt, who is still estranged from Zach, shared an enigmatic Instagram story regarding his intention to move on. For Zach, marrying Emma represented a new beginning. He relocated to a new residence with her, prioritizing his soccer coaching practice and his children. But admirers were left to ponder whether this was truly love or if Zach was evading his past. Tori Roloff has consistently been a public darling due to her honesty and her resilience. She encountered her most menacing moments subsequent to the divorce in our fictional narrative. As she navigated her own grief, she poured her emotions into her children, protecting them from the turmoil. After the separation, Tori continued to work on raising Heights independently. She alluded to her difficulties in the following statement: "The course of life is not always as anticipated. However, you persist in your efforts to support those who require your assistance." She was inundated with encouraging comments from her fans, who referred to her as a warrior and a supermom. A close acquaintance of Tori's reported that she approached me in a state of bewilderment. Zach and their family were the foundation of her existence, and the divorce was a devastating blow to her self-esteem. She is exceedingly resilient, however. Outside of her roles as a wife and mother, she has been striving to rediscover her true identity. The process is sluggish, but she is making progress. In our story, Tori relied on her faith, her family, and her companions to facilitate her recovery. She launched a new Instagram series titled Tori's Truth, in which she shared her candid, unfiltered thoughts on motherhood, grief, and the process of starting over. Fans commended her vulnerability. However, some observed a sorrow in her irises that had not previously been present. There were rumors that Tori was expectant once more. However, she maintained her silence, prioritizing her children and her future. In spite of the anguish, Tori refused to allow the divorce to define her. She started planning a children's book about resilience and enlisted in a photography course, a reference to her early days working at Roloff Farms. She was supported by her admirers, who initiated the Tori Strong movement on Instagram. It was not only Zach and Tori who were impacted by the divorce. It also had a cascading effect on the entire Roloff family. Amy, who had constantly maintained a close relationship with Tori, emerged as her staunchest advocate. In Raising Heights, Tori lauded Amy as the most exceptional grandmother ever, and Amy immediately responded by referring to Tori as her family for eternity. However, Zach's relationship with his mother became increasingly fraught as Amy struggled to reconcile a new life with Emma. In contrast, Matt was preoccupied with his relationship with his fiancée, Karen Chandler. The farm dispute had already torn a rift between him and Zach, and the divorce only served to exacerbate it. After the ceremony, Matt attempted to reconcile with Zach. However, Zach was not prepared. Little People, Big World's Jeremy and Jacob, who had long since departed, maintained a neutral stance, prioritizing their own families. Molly, the sole daughter of the Roloff family, maintained a discreet position of support for both Tori and Zach, endeavoring to reconcile the divide. In the past, the Roloffs were extremely close-knit. It is as though they are all on separate planets at this point. Amy is currently with Tori, Matt is with Karen, and Zach is off with his new wife. The sight is disheartening. The purpose of the farm was to unite them. However, it has instead caused them to break apart. It was a topic of interest among fans as to whether Little People Big World could continue without Zach and Tori. The future of the program was uncertain, with only Matt, Karen, Amy, and Chris remaining. TLC maintained its silence. However, there were persistent rumors that a spin-off directed toward Amy and Chris was in the works. At present, the Roloff family was divided, and the farm, which had previously served as a symbol of unity, was once again available for purchase in 2025. In an effort to attract potential purchasers, Matt reduced the price. Zach and Emma are constructing a new existence together in our fictional story, amalgamating their families and prioritizing the future. Zach has retired from the limelight, preferring to concentrate on his roles as a father and coach. However, certain admirers continue to query his decisions, inquiring as to whether he will ever reconcile with Tori or his other family members. At the same time, Tori is rediscovering her passions, regaining her vitality, and demonstrating that she is more than just a reality TV star. She is resolute in her commitment to maintain the happiness and stability of her children, who are her universe. Since my childhood, I have been a fan of Little People, Big World, and have avidly followed Zach and Tori. Although I am heartbroken by their separation, I am determined that they will both find happiness. Tori's resilience is remarkable, and Zach appears to have discovered tranquility. I simply hope that they will be able to co-parent and someday re-establish a friendship. With regard to the Roloff family, the future is uncertain. Are they ever going to reconcile? Will Roloff Farms be able to land a new proprietor, or will it continue to serve as a testament to their tumultuous history? At present, supporters are left with recollections of a family that captivated our emotions and a narrative that still unfolds, albeit in our imaginations. Little People Big World star Zach Roloff provided an update on his relationship with his father, Matt Roloff. The breakdown between Matt and Zach played out on the show over the past few seasons, as they failed to resolve their disagreement over the family property. Zach and his wife, Tori Roloff, have announced they will no longer be appearing on the show, and it seems maybe for the best. In a recent episode of his and Tori's podcast, Zach addressed the state of his relationship with his father. Little People Big World has followed the Roloff family for 25 seasons. The Roloffs own a pumpkin farm in Oregon, where most of the family is employed. Zach's 3 siblings stopped appearing on the show as they grew up and started their own families, leaving the spotlight on Zach and Tori. The complex dynamics of working on the farm together while also filming a reality show may have proved too much for Zach and Matt. Their relationship crumbled over business matters, with each side refusing to accept any blame. Zach and Matt previously had a close relationship, as shown on Little People Big World. They spent a lot of time together working on the family's pumpkin farm, where Zach hosted personal tours of the property. However, a divide emerged within the family when Matt decided to sell the Roloff family farmhouse. Matt had retained the property after his divorce from Zach's mother, Amy Roloff. Matt divided the property and lived in a small double-wide, listing the large house for sale. All members of the Roloff family acknowledged the sentimental value of keeping the house within the family. But when Zach made an offer, Matt refused to budge on the price. The father and son allegedly had some tense discussions, which also included Tori and Matt's fiancée, Karen Chandler. Zach and Tori ultimately gave up on the purchase, and their relationship with Matt was damaged. Matt was never able to find a buyer at his desired price and resorted to listing the home as a short-term rental. Zach and Tori will no longer appear on Little People Big World, but they are still providing insight into their lives as the parents of 3 young children. They launched their podcast, Raising Heights with Zach and Tori, in early 2024. On their podcast, Zach and Tori discuss parenting, their relationship, and updates about their family. The couple are honest with one another and appear to have a healthy relationship. In the second episode of Raising Heights Season 2, Tori asked Zach questions submitted by listeners. They touched on the history of Zach and Tori's relationship, the status of their house in Battleground, Washington, and their thoughts on parenting. When reflecting on his relationship with his kids, Zach acknowledged that part of growing up is realizing parents are not perfect. Zach said his relationship with Matt is not great and then added that it's not existent. He explained that after filming for Little People, Big World ended, the family took some time apart, allowing them some space to process. But when the show aired, it stirred up hard feelings nearly a year later. He called his father's denial and lack of accountability narcissism. Tori added that she and Zach do not keep their children away from their grandfather. Zach questioned whether there was more he and his family members could have done to reconcile. It's refreshing to hear him acknowledge that the blame might not be completely on his father. Tori refuted this, saying she thought Zach had tried his best. Zach tends to be too forgiving and must create boundaries with his family. Tori is often criticized for instigating the family divide, but she finds it necessary to encourage Zach to cut off toxic relationships because he can be too passive. As their time on Little People, Big World Season 25 comes to an end, it doesn't sound like Zach and Tori plan to reunite with Matt anytime soon. Once they're no longer forced to relive their disagreements on air, perhaps Zach and Matt will find the space they need to leave the past behind. For now, Zach is standing firm with the boundary he has created, even if it means he no longer has a